All right, everybody. Let me make sure that everything's working before we get started. I have just hooked all this up today, so I just want to make sure everything's good. Everything looks good. All right. Good. Yeah, okay. So YouTube looks okay to me. Let's go ahead and just check Tradecaster real quick. Make sure it's on. Make sure everything's working. No, it is not on Tradecaster, and I don't know why. All right, guys, give me just a second. Nope, I am not live on Tradecaster. I would guess that that's it. It's not working. Give me just a second, guys. It's the last thing he told me to do, and I didn't do it. Let's see if I can get it here. Oh, man. That's all right. We're going to go ahead and take it back down. We're going to stop the stream. Yes. Invalid link. So I just need to embed the YouTube. What was the last thing he told me to do on there? Give me just a second, guys. Missed one step. Looks like I just missed the one step.
Stream. So as TradeCaster loads up, we can see we have everything that we set up earlier. We have our chat room, and now we do have to click our lobby, or we can click go. This works. The moment I click start streaming, I can watch on YouTube Studio, and we will see within the next few seconds, YouTube is going to collect my stream, and now I'm going to be able to be seen live wherever I drop my live stream a link. So what we are going to want to do at this point to allow our viewers to be able to see our stream is click the share button, head on over, copy and paste, and just copy this link.
Cool.
This way, traders will be able
Easy.
to see it. So where are we going to paste it?
Easy. I think that is good. All right. It looks like everything's in there. It looks like everything's good. It looks like we have it. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. All right, everybody. Welcome to the very first edition here on Tradecaster of Scrooge's Juice Bar, where we try to find the berries with the most juice. Simply enough, we're just going to do a market rundown twice a day, one at 11 a.m. Eastern and one at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we are just going to do some rundowns. We are going to cover everything from short squeezes, from um, we do a scalp every single morning. We do an end of the day credit spread every single night, and we break down a bunch of really good information. We like to go over the stock options flow early in the day. We do the insider trading tracking 2 times a day, so we can see what kind of moves insiders are making, and hopefully give us a leg up on the competition as far as getting in on these moves early. And then we also in the AM edition we do a short squeeze review. And then on the PM version, which we call the blue collar version, which is really more tailored towards the people who are working all day and just don't have the ability to be here when the market opens, we run that from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And we really focus on overnight swings, overnight straddles plays that you can take. And then we also do an end of the day credit spread strategy that can be run in the last 30 minutes of the day and has proven to be more than 90% successful, and also has the ability to double your account every couple months, has the ability to be scaled up. It is just a great, great, great strategy. So if you haven't seen any of my Twitch or YouTube videos, come back today at 3 o'clock. We're going to run all that live. All right, so the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to go over some of the moves that we were talking about yesterday. The very first thing is the straddle strangle that we got into for the economic report that happened this morning. So we go over to the economic calendar and we see that the report was the jobless claims at 8:30 this morning. So last night I recommended that everybody get into, or I'm sorry, I highlighted a play. I didn't recommend anything. I highlighted a play that I thought would be really good, and it was a let's see here. What we did is we grabbed two sides on the SPY, and this is what we normally do, like the top five earnings reports or any kind of economic data like this. We like to try to get a straddle on both sides. A lot of people try to guess one side or the other, but if any of you guys were following around along with Dekmar just a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago with Meta and Tesla, those earning reports can be absolutely impossible sometimes to predict. So grabbing one on both sides sometimes is the best option. We don't do all earnings plays because the options volume sometimes is just not there on some of these plays. And even if you get the big move and the big swing, you'll end up losing money either way. So with SPY, we found a little bit of consistency with winning, and that's exactly what we did. We actually woke up. We were up, I believe, optimally probably about 40%. So we bet when we originally went into the position, we went into the 514 put at $56. This morning, when the market started to tank, it was down to about 41 cents. Okay, so we would have lost roughly what, $15 there. Okay, no big deal, not the end of the world. Go ahead and close it once you realize you're wrong. Get out of it. Now, the call side, however, is still spiking, guys. We're up to 130% on the day. Um, so with it being at like $116, the cost when we had gotten in was $55. That means we're up $64 for the day, or we're up $60 on the contract. So if you take the $40 from earlier and then you add it to the 115 that we're at now, that's $155. That's a $45 gain on a $110 gamble. That's about 40% overnight, and that's exactly what you're looking for in these. You want to go ahead and get 20 to 40% overnight swing straddles. We can't do them all the time. It's just when these economic events happen. It's just when the top five companies, because like I said, we just trade SPY. SPY has the right amount of volume. We can get in, we can get out. The price is it's more static, and it's something that we can measure over time when we're getting a consistent gain or a consistent loss. It helps a lot with any kind of strategy to have some sort of consistency like that. All right, so that was a big win. Let's talk about the losses. I went ahead and got back in on PG at the end of the day. Another insider dropped a bunch more shares, and it started out being the right move, but then all of a sudden, big old rip and run again. So PG is weird. I really feel like we're gonna get there. I just don't know when. We had two major insider transactions where they dumped all sorts of shares. We went into the insider history on those guys, and they are profitable, or they're knowledgeable whenever they get out. They avoid loss whenever they get in. They gain. So we like the move. We still like PG. I just don't know when it's actually going to dump. CHD just didn't really do anything, even though it cracked. I did not get into this play, however, because the options, the spread was too big. Remember, we don't like to play anything that doesn't have a lot of volume because the buy and the ask will have such a large spread in between that it will eat up your profits, or at worst, make it to where you can't even close your position. You'll literally be stuck inside the position and you can't close it. And I can't think of anything more frustrating than when you set up a market order at the beginning of the day and it's the end of the day and the order's still there and nothing ever happened. It's almost maddening. So we try to avoid stuff like that. We also had some insider transactions here with GRBK. So far, hasn't popped, but we are above the MA. So if you guys want to really start looking for a swing trade here, I'm completely okay with that. Remember, for the swing trades, we want 2 to 3 weeks out. So if you go to the option and you go 2 to 3 weeks out or more, and you can't afford that option, then you can't afford to play the play. It's that simple. So we're looking for stuff that works for your account. We're looking for stuff that you can play several of them. So they have a strategy. You guys can look this up. It's basically a 1/10 strategy where every time you play 1/10 of your account size. I strongly suggest that if you're going to get into swing trading. And what we do or what I do is a 27% to 32%. Maybe 27% to 35% stop loss and take profit. And with these swings, a lot of the times, I'm about 70% successful. So even at a 50, as long as you're over 50-50, you are profitable. So let's talk about a move that I was able to make 20% on this morning that I believe you can utilize. This right here is some juicy, juicy berries, guys. Get ready for this, okay? What I do is I look at the stock options flow for the day. Let me go ahead and refresh this, just make sure it's refreshed, okay? So I look at the stock options flow for the day. And what I do is I just look at the call premium bot and the put premium bot. Now, there's a lot more data to be utilized here, but it doesn't matter. We're not using this to make trades anyway. We're using this to get ideas. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the chart and we're going to confirm those ideas. Okay, so we're going to start this process or this method that I do starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm not able to be live for that anymore. I did it a couple days ago live. I won some money, 20%, 25%, something like that, live for everybody. But I'm not going to be able to do that live for you guys. But I will run. I'll run it down in this review that I do every day. So what you're going to be looking for is you're going to if you guys don't have Fintel, it is a subscription service. I am hoping that they will. I just messaged them the other day about affiliation to see if I can get discounts and see if I can offer that sort of thing. Hopefully in the future, because this is just a great tool. But I will show you in this hour here that we're watching other alternatives that are free that you can utilize. Okay, so don't get upset if you feel like you can't afford a subscription. Anyway, um, the stock options flow leaderboard, or just the flow in general, I'm sure it can be found in other places as well. So, just as long as you have access to that information. So, anyway, we'll get into it. With the call premium bot and the put premium bot, I'm just looking for like a 10-to-1 difference. And I avoid a lot of the big names because I can't afford to play those options. I'd like to get in something a little bit smaller. So when we're looking right here, and one of the first things we see is a really big difference between the call premium bot, put premium bot. Like I said, about 10-to-1 difference. This is actually a 40-to-1 difference. And what it is NCAL, AFRM. So you're going to be starting this exactly at 10 o'clock in the morning. It runs till about 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock at the latest. But usually by 10 a.m. to 10:15 or 10 a.m. to 10:30, you can get in and out of one of these plays and get yourself a nice little 20% for the day. And if you're only doing that one time a day and you have a cash account, you don't have to worry about day trade restrictions. You can do this 5 days a week if you want, and getting yourself 10 to 20% a day, 5 days a week. I mean, do the math. That will absolutely change your account. It will, within 2-3 weeks, you're going to double your account. It's insane, and this is just one little easy thing that we can do every day. So we look at AFRM. And this was not a good example. As you see that it dumped all the way till 10 o'clock and it tried to have a little bit of a rally, but it never popped that resistance and stayed there treading water. So this would not be something that we would take. Once again, we're looking at this at like 10 to 10:05, 10 to 10:10. So that's about the time that we're looking for a huge breakout. And we just need two things. We need the breakout to be happening. We need some sort of confirmation as far as if it just cracked a moving average, or if it's on its way to one. It still has room. And then the other thing is the propellant that you're looking at right here, which is going to be the lopsidedness of the amount of calls and the amount of puts being bought. So if we can find that propellant, this lopsidedness, and it confirms what's happening when we look at the chart and it's breaking out, that's the play you want to be in on. As long as you got a little more room to go, that's how you're going to get your 10 or 20, or maybe honestly today, if I would have stayed in the play, I probably would have got about almost 100% because it just took off. ISC here. Let me go ahead and just check my Robinhood really quick. I don't really remember right off the bat what it was. Oh, it was Intel. Okay, so it was Intel this morning. So um, INTC. So this is what I took this morning. First, let's go ahead and look at this over here and find it. There it is. Okay, so when you looked at INTC this morning, there was a huge difference. So now it's completely changed. The puts have come in and have taken over. But this morning, it was a 10 to 1. It was a 10 to 1 for the calls. So I looked at the chart. Well, you know what? It's possible that it wasn't. Honestly, I just looked at the chart. I seen it was blowing up. That's what I went for. But that's what we're looking for is about a 10 to 1 normally. So anyway, I looked at the chart. I was like, wow, this is really great. It just popped the MA. It has lots of momentum. It just cracked here when I jumped in, and it ripped. I mean, guys, it absolutely ripped. Up here, I could have been up 100%, but I'm not greedy. I'm not one of those people. I look for other levels on the chart. Once I seen it got close to exactly where it is right now, I started thinking about pulling the plug because I know that that right there was a resistance. One time it pushed it down. So as soon as we got here, I said, you know what, 20%. That's fine. That's good enough for me. That's all I'm really looking for. And if you guys want to set, especially with Robinhood, Robinhood's a little funky with the fills. If you guys want to go ahead and just set like a 20% stop right off the bat, or take profit, it'll fill it when it gets to it, and you're out, and you don't have to keep watching it and going, oh no, I could have got more. It doesn't matter. Just make your incremental gains every single day, and then on the losses, be ready to cut them. If you're wrong and you see a quick reversal and all of a sudden your option contract goes negative 20%, go ahead and just get out of it. I mean, you're not going to be wrong very often, so just don't let it take all your money. Just get out as quick as possible, and that same rule should be applied for any losses on the stock market. When you have a consistent system like this, you shouldn't be upset about the loss. That should get you fired up because now you got the loss out of the way. You can just go ahead and pump a bunch of wins in a row. It's time to get it right. Okay, so let's do a couple more of these just to give you an idea how they work. I had seen one earlier that I really liked. I don't know if I'm gonna remember where it was. Can I see what I recently searched for on here? No. All right. All right. We'll just do one live. I'll find another one. I had one lined up for you guys. I just don't really remember where it was. So AFRM was a bad example. It didn't do anything. Here we got Baba. Baba's at a 10 to 1 for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's more than 10 to 1. So Baba, BABA. All right, guys, that went on a really nice rip and run. This would be something that you could have gotten in on. However, when we were looking at 10, 10:05, 10:10, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought, you know what, this is chopping, this isn't breaking out. I don't want nothing to do with that. So I wouldn't have played that. So we're not going to pretend like I would have. Let's go ahead and just find something else for you guys real quick. It wasn't RTX. I want to say it was. See, now that I refreshed it, I lost it. It was in the top, and now I don't remember where it was. So yeah, like I said, doesn't matter. I'll just find another one. CELF, CELH. I think it was. Yeah, H. Oh, okay. Yeah, this absolutely is what we were talking about. So it didn't really take off until 10:30. We missed the morning pop at that point because we're getting in at around 10:05. So it would have been the same thing. I wouldn't have believed in it. I feel like they're all going to take this trend because of Spy, what Spy did today. But I wouldn't have taken that. So I'm not going to pretend like I would have. CE. Oh, it was JD, wasn't it? Was it JD? I feel like it was JD. If not, I just looked at JD for another reason. No, JD didn't work. Okay. All right, let's find another one. Dell. Dell is like a really, um, really high differential between the two. Same thing. We got a really nice little run, but right at 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, I wouldn't have been thinking that I wanted to get in on that play. All right, guys. Mara is super lopsided. Now, Mara did just have a earnings, if I'm correct. I feel like I remember an earnings. Or no, maybe Mara. No, okay, no, I'm not sure. Okay, but guys, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is a perfect example. Okay, so right around 10 o'clock, it was breaking out. So when we were looking at it here, yeah, there was some consolidation, but you've seen the breakout started, so we're at least watching it. We're hanging out. And when this next candle started and it started really going, is when I would have said, "Hey, let's go ahead and grab a contract here." So here you would have grabbed a contract at 20 and you would have rode it up. Now, when you get this early day movement like this on a contract that is that on any contract, you're going to get a lot of price movement in the option because of the potential. It's already skyrocketing. Maybe it's going to keep going. So that inflates the contract price. That's what makes this system so profitable. That's how we not guarantee, but that's how we get, ooh, didn't mean to do that. That's how we get consistent wins, you know? All right. So let's see if we can just do one more to give you guys one more example. TTD was super lopsided. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Connect my paper trade. TTD. The trade desk. I mean, yes, 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 yes. This would have been it. This would have been it. So 10 o'clock, whatever, boom, boom. We see it start to break out. We jump in like right around here because we're like, oh my gosh, it's bullish. And then we get out somewhere up here. Like I said, they almost always end by 11 o'clock. I don't know why that happens, but right around 11 a.m., they turn around, they stop their pump. So your optimal time period for catching these is from 10:15 to 10:30 or from 10:15 to 10:45. Somewhere in there is going to be your best time to grab these. All right, guys. So that's it. That's my rundown of the stock option flow. Now we're going to go ahead and just move on to the insider trading tracking. This is something that I do twice a day. I'm going to do it on the early one and the evening one because usually there's a lot of information to go through. Today, I don't really see a lot to start. A lot of them are this Murray Stahl, and we ignore her. But anyway, we'll get into it. So, insider trading. Why is this important? Trading tracker. Why is this important? Okay, so insiders have the ability to move the market. And it's not necessarily because they are trading so much volume. It's just because they create confidence or they create skepticism based on their movement. So, as I learned here in the Tradecaster training materials, is that the most important thing about how these prices move is the mob mentality. The mobs are on both sides, and if they're confident, or if they are super confident, or if they are not confident, if they're really not confident, those types of emotions will absolutely affect how they're trading. So these insider movements can create optimism or skepticism based on certain sides. So that's why they work. Also, with me using Fintel here, I have the ability to go through the actual uh, history of this insider and what they do. So we have the ability to get a little bit of insight as if they do this all the time, if this is something normal for them. So when I look at this chart, the first thing that I always look for, see if we get any more. Okay. See, first thing I always look for is the shares that were traded in comparison to how many shares they have left. If they're dumping 20%, 30%, 50% of their position, that to me is a huge flag. Okay, so that's the first flag that we look for. The second flag we look for is just a lot of money. If we're talking right here, $40 million, $60 million, $1.4 million, those are trades that we're interested in. Those are the kind of trades that make people go, whoa, what's going on? And might want to get out of the position or might want to add their position and change the direction of the market of that stock price. So the second thing is the value. The first thing is the remaining shares or the shares traded compared to the remaining shares. The second thing is the value. And the third thing that's a huge flag is if we see multiple insiders trading. So, like right here, I see right off the bat, ALKT had a director and a limited partner director, two different insiders, both made a trade. This actually might be an anomaly because it's the exact same amount. Yeah. Okay. So that's an anomaly. But what you would see is you would see that ticker multiple times, and then you would see like the VP, the director, a CEO, a COO, multiple people, CIO, VPs, presidents, 10% owners. Those are all the people that are considered insiders. And when multiple, many of them are all making moves in the same direction, that's our third, huge flag. So we look for that kind of information, and then we just look at the price, or we look at the chart, and we kind of just compare the two. All right, so let's get into that. So this guy here, he sold 13,000, and he only has 30,000 shares. Guys, that's almost a quarter. That's more than a quarter of his shares that he sold, and he sold it for $1.4 million. So a good thing is that his trade date, all these trade dates are within the last couple days. That's good. Sometimes it'll be a week old, a month old. I've seen stuff from 6 months ago, and that's obviously not going to help you. But stuff that had just been filed and has just been traded recently is great. That really helps us. Okay, so CHD, let's go ahead and see what CHD is doing. Oh, CHD, we already had, guys. So CHD, that's another insider move. So they had an insider yesterday dump a bunch of shares. Now this insider's dumping a bunch of shares, a quarter of his shares, and now we can actually go in here and look at what. First of all, we can see if it's part of an automatic trading plan. Okay, that's really important because sometimes they have moves that they make automatically, and it's not out of the ordinary. But you can see right here that this is absolutely out of the ordinary. So now when he does other trades that are not part of an automatic trading plan, how does he do? Well, here he avoided a 10% loss. Here avoided an 18%, 20%, 50%, 50%, 50%. All the ones he did back in 2015, 2014, he avoided huge losses, guys. So he's really good at trading, is what we see. We see he's good at avoiding loss. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to see what that price is doing. And now what we see is the price is confirming that we just dropped below the MA. Now, this is a 5 minute candle. Maybe we'd go to 30 since we are talking about swing trades. But this shows me that not only is it turned to the dark side, that it has a little bit more room to drop. Your MA would be, a good support line. So do I feel like we should jump in this play right now? No. But can we add this play to our list and just kind of keep an eye on it? Yes. We already had a couple chances to grab a few puts, but if it cracks this and just keeps on plummeting down, that would be the bigger move and that would be the more profitable move. So that would be something that we could just wait for. Another thing you can do before you even add it to the list is go look at what the options are doing. And that way you're not just sitting there watching a dead ticker or something that's not even going to help you. You keep going back and checking. You make sure that it's the perfect setup. And then all of a sudden you look and you can't even get a good option. So, why even have it on that list, right? So go to the options trade and play around with this a little bit. Okay. When we do swing trades, based on insider transactions, 2 to 3 weeks is the minimum. Minimum. Even if this was 11 days right here, I would not take it. I would go up and see if I can afford the next contract up. So the first thing I noticed when we go up here, and by the way, this was a put, right? They were removing their right here. They were removing their positions, right? Yeah, he sold a quarter of his positions. Okay, so I expect the put to happen. So when you come over here to the put contracts, you just want to make sure that you can afford it. I mean, if it goes down a little bit, okay. So this is basically at the money right now. So if we got a few dollars down, we can come down a little farther. So let's see what this looks like. And this is great. This is actually a great setup. So the spread being this close, 5 cents on each side, means that there's enough volume to get in and out of this trade. You can play with this strike a little bit to just get an idea of, okay, if I get closer to the strike, how much am I going to be in the money? So here, this is $1.60 away, and about $140. So you can add $100 to this if it moves $5 in that direction, right? You can kind of just figure that out right away. And then you come down here a little bit, and you see that if you go out of the money a little bit too much, the spread opens up and nobody wants that contract. So this is a problem that you'll notice where you'll get in, the price will go down just or go the opposite direction of the way you pick just a little bit, and now there's no bid. There's no way for you to sell your position. You're stuck. These are the plays you want to avoid. Unfortunately, because I feel like this could have been a really good play, but if you go just a little too far away, so right now, okay, it looks good, but if it starts trailing up just a little bit, you can get into this zone where there's no interest. There's nobody wanting it. And that's going to keep you stuck, and that's going to make you a little nuts because sometimes you'll wake up and the ask will be all the way up to like $3, $4. So the spread in between says that you're at like $1 and you're like, oh, I made all sorts of money, woohoo! And you can't close, and it will literally drive you crazy. So spend a little time just going up a strike, down a strike to get an idea of what the options are going to do the farther away you get or the closer you get. All right. So that being said, I wouldn't take CHD. Uh, would I still consider shorting it? Absolutely. Would I consider a put contract? Um, no, I don't know. I don't like the options volume. Like I said, the worst case scenario here, guys, is you make money, you can't get out. You lose money, you can't get out. You can't get out. That is what you want to avoid. So we're gonna move on. All right, this guy here bought 30,000 shares. He added to his 1.1 million shares. That's kind of a lot. I mean, it's a pretty good size up, but he would need 100,000 shares, almost 1.1. So 110,000, 190,000, 119,000 shares in order to hit my 10%. So the flag didn't hit. The price is kind of high, not really. I think we're gonna go ahead and move on, guys. All right, so Mastercard. This one's important. I see this one almost every day. Okay, this MasterCard Foundation will dump $70 million of shares every day. And then when you go into their history, you come to find out that's all they do. Okay, so I don't know if that's actually what the foundation was created for, was to sell shares of stock. I don't even know, but clearly, with a $70 million sale, you would think the price would move, but every single time that we check it, it does not. All right, and it did not load that page, so we're moving on. Okay, so FIX, this guy sold almost 10% of his shares. This is what we're looking for. Okay. Oh, she did. Darcy, Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. Anderson. Okay, so she sold it at 344. She sold $1 million worth of her shares. So first thing we're gonna do is just kind of get some information about Darcy. As far as selling, she doesn't buy when it's not part of an automatic trading plan, but she does sell when it's not part of an automatic trading plan. And when she does, she's right. She missed a loss here, missed a loss here, missed a loss here, missed a loss here. She misses losses every time she does this. All right. And you can actually go through here and you can see how often she sells. You can see that she really doesn't sell that often. She had one in 2017, one in 2022. And then she's got two here within the last little bit. All right. So when you see somebody that doesn't trade often, she's not buying, she's not selling, that might be an indication that she's not an insider, that she's not getting some sort of inside information. This might be more of an indication that she is just selling her stock periodically for personal reasons and happens to be avoiding losses at the same time. However, we can definitely just take a look at the price and take a look at the stock and see what it's doing and see if we like it. So FIX was the play. All right. It has turned towards the dark side a little bit here. We got lots of room to run down to the MA here, all the way down to 330. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. All right. Mrs. Anderson sold $1 million of her shares. And when she did, she sold them at $3.44. So we're still good. We're still good. We're actually up higher than when she sold them, guys. So this might be the movement. This might be the crack. We might actually be about an hour and a half, about an hour late on this one as far as how it's going to start going. But you know what? I like this. I like everything about it. Let's see if we can get a contract on this one. Now, normally for these, not normally for these insider trades, not taking them from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is not a bad idea. Sometimes it's better to come back after lunch when the volume picks up again, so that way you don't get caught in that chop. But when you're doing a 2 to 3 week expiration date, hopefully, that sideways movement won't decay you too bad at all. If you can get 3 weeks or more, you probably won't even notice it, to be honest with you. So, uh, FIX, let's check their option real quick. All right, and we're gonna go to the big one and remind me they were. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, sorry, So we're over here, and we're going put side. And we said 330s were definitely possible. So let's just go ahead and go down to 320, 310 maybe at the last. All right, so this doesn't look like a play that I'm going to be able to get into. Number one, the spread is really, really big, and I don't love that. Yeah, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. And the reason is because we're 43 days out. We got a lot of time. 320 is very probable, but yet the buyers only want to give you $4.60, and then the sellers want to sell it for $6 and 40 cents. So they're not agreeing on the price. So therefore, the price you're going to get in on is going to be speculative, and you could go all the way down here, you could go all the way up here, and you can lose so much money just based on the buyers and sellers not agreeing. So anytime we're doing anything with options, and I mean anything, you want that spread to be nice and tight. That gives you the indication that it's nice and high volume, that you're going to be able to get in and out of these trades nice and fast. So that being said, we're going to move on. All right. So we looked at ALKT earlier, did we? No, but when it's I feel like when I see this par value um, thing that it's actually not a good trade, but let me figure out why as we get in there. ALKT. Um, ALKT. All right, well, they sold quite a bit, $40 million worth. But guys, they only sold 1 million shares out of 17 million. I mean, it's not even really that big of a deal. Okay. And this is just some very different data demographics that I'm used to. I'm just going to avoid this just because it's and abnormal. And, we want consistency. We want things that have been proven, effective and that work. So, hey, appreciate you, man. What's up, YB? All right, so keep going with the insider trading. This guy here sold 2,000 of his 24,000 shares. That's pretty big. That's that 10% thing that we were talking about. So yeah, so let's do that. So it's a 10% trade. It is $500,000. That's quite a bit. So Mr. Stafford, what are you up to? All right, so when he takes trades, he avoids loss pretty well. There's only been a couple times he's been wrong. Right and wrong, right and wrong. Okay, so when he's wrong, he's only wrong by a little bit, but when he's right, he avoids a massive amount of loss. Okay. All right, Ryan. I see you, buddy. I see you. All right, LFUS. So we're gonna check that one out real quick. US. Don't forget, guys, when we do these, every time we kind of have to see when the trade date was. But I checked in the beginning and I seen that they were all, nice and close. So we should be good on that. All right, so this one is starting to show, a reversal type of momentum here. It's lost its way. The earnings report, guys, we try to avoid earnings reports at least for 2 or 3 days because we don't want to get caught up in any kind of volatility that's happening there, and you can see why. Imagine you were on the put side here, like, oh yeah, look, it's showing, and then it just keeps going. But here you can see it's calmed down a little bit. I feel like maybe we've reached the end of that high volume area, and maybe it's going to kind of tread water a little better. And now that the insiders are dropping it, I feel really good about this play. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the options are going to give us. LFUS, yeah, LFUS. Okay, let's see if we can get a good option on this one, guys. Oh no. And the first thing we see is even an 8-day option, something that's about to expire, something that's about to be in the money, still has this high of a spread. The buyers and the sellers do not agree. So doing stuff like that really quick will allow you to not have to watch these. Don't even put it on your watch list, guys. Don't even bother with it. You just move right on to the next one. All right. Well, that stinks. We've had some really good confirmations. Like I said, if you want to short these plays, I'm completely okay with that. But when you short, just be really knowledgeable about how to short. I would imagine you don't have a shorting account without knowing what you're doing, but it's a very very dangerous strategy if especially if you want to swing overnight. I'm, no, I don't think I would ever hold a short overnight. I just don't have the diamond hands for that, my friend. All right, so it looks like we've really reached the end of this section, guys. This Murray Stahl, she's always in here just doing tiny, tiny transactions. A couple shares here, a couple shares there. I feel like she's almost doing the same thing every day. 24, 24, 6, 1, 4. I've seen it so many times. But anyway, guys, that's it. That's all we can really do for insider trades. Um, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Oh no, no, sorry. Okay, so what I promised you guys is if you did not have FinTel, that I would give you another way to do this. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. This FinViz version of this has actually been more profitable for me, and has been more consistent. Has been more consistent. I've been making better gains on this. So real quick, this is what I'm looking for. And by the way, this setup I had gotten from Deckmar Trades. Thank you, Deck. Appreciate you, buddy. He did a video not that long ago of how to set up these, and I immediately grabbed that video and started testing. And what I found was a lot of success. I was almost 70% successful when I was testing this. Or when I was actually charting my trades. All right. So what we're looking for here, guys, is we're looking for volume over 1. We're looking for the price over 20. Okay, we want good volume, and we want something that's not, a low cap stock. We want the change from open to be down. We want the performance to be down. We want it to be oversold. So down, 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 oversold. Everything just says down. Ugly. Down, down, down. However, we have this one indication, this one little silver lining here that says that the insiders are starting to add positions. Oh, and optionable is very important too because we're doing options. All right, so right here you see the list gave us nothing, nada, no candidates today. That's all right. That's all right. Change this insider transaction to be like any positives. I like to go at least 5 or 10%. I just like to feel a little more confident that they're withdrawing a lot of their positions. Okay, but on the other side of the fence, we have a lot of things to look at. So this will be the other side, the put side. Change from open up, relative volume over 1, performance is up over $20. Once again, we want to have good plays. RSI is overbought. So, and optionable. So this shows that everything is just taken off. But for some reason, the insiders are starting to reduce their positions. And using this indicator, I've been able to find some really nice swings. Okay, so what we're doing when we look at the chart, we're looking for a dramatic increase. We don't want it to just be from down left to up right and just a steady incline. We want it to be some sort of a dramatic increase, indicating that we could see a drop, that we could see some sort of a gap fill. The only thing that you're looking for that we're not going to be messing around with is going to be earnings plays. So if that giant gap, which a lot of the times it is, comes off of an earnings, we're going to wait a few days. Okay, this right here. Okay, so the reason we do this is because earnings and insiders pulling out their money just means they might be taking profits, guys. I mean, what would you do if all of a sudden the price jumped up higher than it's been in the last 3 months? Probably going to go ahead and take some profits. I know I would. So that's why we avoid the earnings, because the insider transaction in correlation to that doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to be coming down anytime soon. I mean, in my experience, it usually treads water at that new level for at least 4, 5, 6 days. So, well, I can't say that. I mean, every price, every stock's going to be different, but it likes to tread water. It seems to. So, this one isn't going to work because of the ER. So we move on. VITL is one of those like steady left to right guys that we don't like, and it's an earnings play. So that's a double whammy there, guys. We're not messing with that at all. Rev G, it looks like for 4 days has been gapped up and no earnings. Yay! All right, so we like Rev G. So Rev G has given us some pretty good indication that it could be coming down soon. All right. So first thing we do is look at the chart, see if it's showing us anything. Well, it is, but it's not what we want to see. Excuse me. It is definitely going the opposite direction. So it's up. The RSI is hot. Everything that we know about the stock we're seeing right now, that it is absolutely taken off, but the insiders are decreasing positions. And just that alone can mess with the mentality of the mob and make everyone else say, oh, I want to take my profits here too. I want to take my profits here too. I want to take my profits here too. And that's what starts this. Okay, so we got a lot of room to run here, guys. I would say wait until after lunchtime. Take a look at this chart, see if it's continuing to the downside, see if it kind of breaks this little indecision candle here, this little like part doji here, doji candle. If it can break that and keep coming on down to the south side, I'd say it'd be a really good time to grab that for a put. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just add this to my put section. That way, throughout the day, I can just kind of keep clicking over there and get ready for that moment where the chart confirms what we found on the scanners. So you got the scanner indication, then you got the chart indication, and then you just go for it. Usually a 27% to 35% take profit or stop loss. And like I said, I tested about 70% successful. And a lot of my entries weren't well timed. So I mean, I feel like maybe a lot of you chart guys and a lot of you technical analysis guys probably could do a lot better than I did. All right, so earnings play, not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I don't blame the insiders for getting out. Look at that rally, baby. All right, earnings play, not touching it. IS. Oh, okay. So we had a huge gap here. This might have been maybe a news thing or something. Maybe they got a big news, got acquired, or maybe just because they broke this trend that they've been in since September. Oh my goodness, guys, look at this one. I like this one. So IESC. Let's take a look at that. All right. I mean, not now because you're not going to fight, whatever's happening here. But I mean, I could definitely see this being a play. Wait a minute. What is this? Earnings. Weird. I did not see it over here. All right. So this one just didn't have the earnings on there. Not a big deal. I'm glad I seen it. Yeah, we don't mess with earnings. Everybody's just taking profits. Okay, well that makes sense. Now we know why it took that dramatic uptick. Okay, no big deal. All right, and I think we're almost done, guys. DBD looks like another earnings play to me. Yeah, absolutely. BLBD earnings. Oh, it's usually not this many earnings. Usually we've got more options. Okay, so I mean, really, just no real choices besides Rev G. Were we at least right about that, or did we miss the earnings on that as well? No. Okay, so no earnings anytime recently. Yeah, it was all the way back in March, so we're okay. We're okay with Rev G. Okay, so when Rev G starts spinning around, starts showing, some sort of um, weakness, we'd like to go ahead and think about jumping in on that. I am using the EMA 113 as per Dekmar's recommendation. I find that it works very well to just get an overall idea of bullish and bearish. All right, guys. So that's it for the insider trading, both with Fintel and with FinViz. The very last thing that we're going to do for the show today, looks like we're going to be wrapping up right on time today, is the short squeezes. Okay, so this list actually does not change day to day, but we will go over this every day because the way the short squeeze happen is one, nobody knows when they're going to happen. Two, they happen over the period of a couple days. So I'll be honest with you guys. I actually have not found the magic formula for the short squeezes, but I love to give the information and data, and I love to see as they're happening, and I'm learning a lot more about them as I go along. So for any of you guys who do know a lot about short squeezes, feel free to kind of take a screenshot of this. I know that the borrow fee rate. The rate at which it's being borrowed is very important. I know the amount of shares that are available to short is very important, which is the short float. There's some things here that will help you make intelligent choices, but they're already kind of done for you here with this thing called a short squeeze score. So the short squeeze score is going to kind of put all of these analytics together and just kind of give you an idea. But anything in this list could go at any time. So for a really good example, we already had from yesterday, we had MULN, which actually squeezed pretty good yesterday. Okay, so they actually got a really good pop yesterday. So what I understand about the short squeezes, we're going to go back a little bit. I watched a video where they basically explained that it's a multi-day event, that the first squeeze happens, and that's your indication that you want to watch it. So when this happened back here on April 24th, and it went from $2.71 and jumped all the way up to $3.88, that was the beginning of the squeeze. That's when you start watching it. Now this high will be your high, and you put a line there. Then what always happens is the shorts come in and pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down. And then you'll have a lot of evenness. And then all of a sudden it'll pop up above that line. That's when the gentleman that I was watching his video said that that's when you want to jump in. And then when I go back and I watch these short squeezes, that's absolutely what's happening time and time and time again. So you'll see here when the squeeze first happened, it drew back. But then when it finally popped right around here, you could have got in and you would have been in for all this. You could have got this and took profit. You could have just held and got this and took profit. You could have just said, you know what, I think it's going to go more, and then took profit way up here. And if you had taken, I mean, if it was an options play and you had taken this thing all the way from $4 to almost $8, that one move could absolutely change your account. That one move could absolutely change your account. I don't know how much the option was to get in. I don't know anything about the option on this play, but if the environment was right and you got in for a good amount, you could have absolutely seen a times 10. You could have absolutely seen a times 20. When you see the price of a stock double and you're in on the option, I've seen I think the best that I've ever seen personally was when Nvidia went up 30% and the option went up 200,000%. So it just gives you an idea of just how juicy these berries can be. Here kind of happened again. Okay, so the squeeze started here. It went from $4 to $6, pulled back, pulled back. I mean, let's say it stopped at 650. Pulled back, pulled back, pulled back. As soon as it broke that 650 yesterday, is when I wanted to jump in. But I was in the middle of something. Oh no, I was streaming at the time, and we were in the middle of doing a rundown of something else. And I was like, "Oh look, MULN breaking out." But yeah, this is kind of how you grab squeezes, and this is how you play them. Is that you just wait until it squeezes to show you that it's happening, and then when it gets pulled back down, you just wait for it to break that high. So let's see if rent was another good example. Oh my gosh, this was the perfect example. So it happened on the earnings, but we see that it squeezed pretty dramatically here. It went from $7 to $14. So you thought to yourself, oh no, I missed it. Oh well, no, this is what we do. We wait, we wait, we wait. Then it breaks $14 and runs all the way up to $24. It wasn't done. It wasn't done. It almost doubled again. Again, you could have made that money. And then what happens? It pulls back, and then what happens? It breaks it at 24 and heads all the way up to almost 30. So in this one squeeze, there was one, two, three, four options to absolutely kill it. Now, what about put contracts? Because what I've noticed with these squeezes is that who's winning majority of the time? The Bulls win here, the Bulls win here, the Bulls win here. But the shorts win here. Not short, sorry. Don't be a shorter on these. You don't want to get caught up in that. But the puts win here, the puts win here, the puts win here, the puts win big here, the puts win here, puts, all the way down the ladder. So, when it comes to these short squeezes, is it better to grab the squeeze or to put it on the way down? I say both. Get it, get it. I mean, if you see it, you see these things happening, and you can have an opportunity to grab it on the way up, grab it on the way down. Why not? Grab some shares on the way up, grab some puts on the way down, grab some calls on the way up, grab some puts on the way down. The only thing we're not doing on these plays, guys, is shorting, because you don't want that. You don't want to have to find out that you lost and get caught up in something like this. It is absolutely not worth it. So we'll do maybe one more. DJT. Let's see what's going on with DJT. All right. So we'll see, guys, that the shorts are definitely in control. They've been in control since we had our very first spike, right after they announced it, just maybe a month after they announced it. So we came all the way down from $80 to like nothing, 20. Oh my gosh! But ever since then, bulls have been pushing, pushing, pushing. We're getting some really nice squeezes here. And as a matter of fact, if you guys noticed, this was ranked 144th last week. It's ranked number 2 now. So this is absolutely prime for a short squeeze right now, and it hasn't started happening. We haven't seen the dramatic spike. This one's a good spike, but it's over the period of a couple days. So the DJT would be really good to watch. I actually went in there yesterday and I was looking at the amount of shares. So this gets updated pretty frequently, but sometimes they don't report but the last time that they reported was 3 days ago, and this um, trading I don't know the word for it, the networks that we all trade on. This one reported that there were no shares available. So if they don't have the ability to get more shares to short, what does that tell you guys? They can't pull it back down. They're not going to be able to stop it. All right. The interest rate is also, I'm told, a very big propellant of the short squeezes. And you can see this is probably actually one of the big reasons that they added it to the list a week ago, is because the interest rates blew up. So they went from pretty standard 100, 200 to 700 here. Now they came back down a little bit, which is helpful. But, if there's no shares available, it really doesn't matter anyway. So high interest rates, low float available, and then here's some other information as far as the fails to deliver. I know that that's important too. Like I said, I don't know how to utilize a lot of this data. I hope maybe you guys do. And if any of you guys do, feel free to kind of put it in the chat and just let me know. Which one of these metrics are especially helpful to figure out exactly when the pop's going to happen. But if the method that I've outlined for you guys today is true, which when we look at these short squeezes, it absolutely is true, then it doesn't really matter, the metrics. You just kind of want to get a list of these guys and just keep an eye on them, and then as you watch them, wait for these multi-day events to take place and just get in on it. This is a 1, 2, 3 day event that took place. So, it happens over the period of a couple days. It's not something that you have to get in right away. I got 5 more minutes. Let's see if we can just run one more down real quick. RILY. I've seen this one for a little while now, actually. It's been up here in the top 10. Okay, so yeah, we see it again with RILY here. We got one major spike, came back down, and then it spiked again. Now, this, wasn't great. It only went from 34 to $40. But guys, a $5 swing, if you're in on a strike that's only like $3 away, you're in the money by $2. Like, you might have just gone parabolic with your account. Like, I mean, like I said, every play is going to be different. They actually do have options calculators, so you can figure out how much you're going to make, or speculate. But yeah, I mean, if you can't see there's juice on these berries, I don't know if you're in the right place right now. So all right, guys, I think that's going to be it for my daily report. We went over the options volume. We went over the short squeezes, and we went over the insider trading. Tonight for the blue collar edition, we're going to be back at 3 o'clock. It's going to be we're going to run a system at the end of the day that is 90% successful. We're going to run a system at the end of the day that is something easy for people who are working all day and who don't have the ability to be here. And then we're also going to be talking about any overnight plays that can be done as far as swing trading and stuff. So it really focuses on people who just can't be here all day, who really only have the chance to be here at the end of the day, and who maybe can open their phone at work in the morning and close a few positions first thing in the morning. So that's really the demographic that the Scrooge's Juice Bar is going to be focusing on. But anybody can make some money here. We have our daily scalp, we have our swings, we have a lot of really good juice here. So guys, please come back every day. The juice bar is going to be live from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern, and from 3 p.m. till 4 p.m. Eastern. So I look forward to seeing you guys all back. Good luck with trading today. Make a lot of money, and I'll see you guys back for the later version.